Aaron, really looking forward to this conversation, so thanks for sitting with us.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
So let's talk about your background. How did you get to be doing what you're doing now?
I first came to Agora about 15 years ago. I answered an ad out of a newspaper. They were looking for researchers. The company was going through one of their first phases of really rapid growth. I had just graduated from grad school. I was here in Baltimore.
What were you studying?
I was doing an MFA program at Johns Hopkins, fiction writing,
Right.
which I did self-directed screenwriting. So as that program was winding down, I spent some time in Los Angeles, and I found out really quickly that the movie industry is not just waiting on people to show up with spec scripts. That's not actually how movies work. So I came back to Baltimore, and I had very little money. I needed health insurance, and I knew that I could write a little bit. And I had that curiosity that tends to do well in the Agora universe. I answered the ad. They took me on. That was the summer of 2006. Fast forward now to 2020. I've been researcher, writer, editor. I've worked in marketing. Just about every job you can have along the way in this business at one time or another, I've had.
And as you said, there's sort of like in your company accelerated growth or big growth that through that period of time.
Yeah.
That's to me somewhat of a wealth breakthrough. Saying, "Wow, look at this company going from point A to point B in a short period of time." What would you attribute all that growth to?
I would say wealth breakthroughs of any sort don't come from times where everything is status quo. The most wealth is made on the margins at the extremes of the market. Sentiment or market activity is either incredibly bullish or incredibly bearish.
Right.
It was relatively easy to make money and for Agora to grow during the 1990s because if you threw a dart at tech stocks, you could do pretty well.
Right.
There were a lot of Yahoos out there. There were a lot of pets.coms too, but there were a lot of Yahoos. The flip side of that too is there was an awful lot of money to be made coming out of the financial crisis, which was like the one, I would say, historic market event that I have participated in this business. Coming into the business in 2006, only being in the business for a few years until 2008 happened. But coming out of that crisis, the people who invested smartly and were not afraid to take the plunge again did very, very well the next few years. So the biggest breakthroughs come from extreme bullish times and extreme bearish times if you know what to do. Giving folks that information to help them make the most of those opportunities is what we're all about.
And what are most of your activities right now? What do you do?
Managing the flow of ideas and trying to keep them pointed in the right direction on a day-to-day basis so that everyone who receives analysis and recommendations from us gets what they expect, gets more than what they expect, and gets what they rely on from us.
So as a publisher, you're publishing content on varying aspects of money or wealth development and management.
Yep.
What categories would you say those are in as far as stocks or other vehicles?
The business is traditionally split into four silos: tech, trading, income, and macro. Macro is like the global economic analysis. Trading is options trading strategies, for example. Income is how can I get the best dividend paying stocks and make them that cornerstone in my portfolio that they need to be. And then tech is obviously too, like what breakthrough technologies are right around the corner that are gonna change our lives and deliver great returns in the markets. So for us, guys like Ray Blanco are tech. He's the best pure tech researcher in all the different fields that I've ever met. Mike Bernick, income, Kenny and Greg, who you guys are also gonna talk to in trading. And then Judge Napolitano from Fox News is our upcoming macro analyst who gives that perspective of how the whole world fits together, both in the markets and also politically.
How important is that macro view?
It's everything. It seems, in my opinion, day to day that trade war with China or currency fluctuation or tensions in Iran going from political bickering to a hot war, it seems like that can sometimes just be a cycle of noise with no conclusion. Story never really moves forward or backward. It's just a different version of the same headline every day.
Right.
But when those events do reach tipping points, they have quick and huge effects on the market and real people's money. So you have to, everything comes from big picture macro perspective. You have to have an idea of where the world is headed and what's going on in the entire world right now. That helps you understand how do I act in the markets today, right now.
So you're in the information business, basically, saying there's a lot of information out there. It's got to get organized and delivered so people can make better decisions.
Yep.
How many people should be participating in getting information like this? If you're maybe more of a passive investor, should I still be like reading newsletters?
Yes. Well, of course I'm going to say that.
Yeah.
If I said no, we have a bigger problem. Yes, you should. It's very simple to say, I'm going to buy Johnson & Johnson for the dividend and I'm never going to touch it because Johnson & Johnson is a great company and they're never going to go anywhere.
Right.
Many people do that, and that's great. But that's just one way to start. Because the opportunities that layer on top of that very basic dividend investing, for example, can accelerate your returns and get you where you want to be quicker. You have to be intelligent about it. You have to be diligent about how you go about it. The actual strategies that you use, which is what we try to do, which is why we have expert analysts who spend all day, every day researching the best ways to put your money to work in the markets to get people where they want to be even quicker. That's not without risks and possible pitfalls.
Of course.
Because of geopolitics, because of unforeseen black swan events in the markets or what have you. But we want to help as many people as possible position themselves to take advantage of opportunity.
And that's where I guess the macro view comes in, saying, you know, there's a lot of stuff going on in individual areas, but if you don't see the big picture,
Yep.
You can't see potential risks or pitfalls that are coming down the line.
Absolutely.
Interesting that you use Johnson & Johnson as an example, because just recently they
Sure.
lost an $8 billion verdict. Yep.
Sure.
So you think you're safe,
Yeah.
but and this is where maybe if you know what's going on, there's a trial, legal. You know,
Yep.
these are that's information again that might
Yep.
have gotten you out of that stock
Yep.
before this verdict happened. So talk about that a little bit.
There's several ways to approach this question, and I'm glad that you followed up by asking this again. First of all, yes, Johnson & Johnson has tremendous legal exposure in the near term. So if you are really heavy on Johnson & Johnson right now, the near term would probably be a good time to lighten up a little bit, put some money elsewhere, and come back to Johnson & Johnson once things smooth out. That's the second part. Johnson & Johnson isn't going anywhere. Yes, they have tremendous legal exposure right now. Yes, they're going to probably pay billions and billions more in fines, but companies like Johnson & Johnson that touch pharmaceuticals, consumer products, everyone has 10 to 20 items in their house at all times from Johnson & Johnson. Johnson & Johnson isn't going out of business. They're not going anywhere.
Right.
So maybe take a break, but you come back. Like those are the S&P 100 foundational companies. America is built on companies like Johnson & Johnson. If they did something wrong, they deserve to pay for that, and they will. But they're not going anywhere.
Thanks so much for being here and watching that video. And can I ask you to please subscribe to our channel so you can find out when we're posting new content. You'll be alerted right away when we do. To share this with people you think might benefit from the information, and certainly it helps us if you like the video. So if you like what you just saw, go ahead and hit that like button. And again, thank you so much for being here with me right now.